Hey everybody! Today, Rahdo runs down Welcome to, which is a roll and write game of sorts where 1 to 100 players try to build the best suburbs possible. And the way it works is, every round, we are going to draw and flip a card from each of the 3 construction decks. These were shuffled up as part of setup. And so, let's see what we get. We get an 11, build a pool. We get a 10, go to the real estate office. And we get a 10, do the Biz Action, which, by the way, is a French real estate term. I have no idea why the developers didn't translate this to English along with everything else, but I'll explain it as we go. So anyway, you flip and get 3 different combinations of cards, and then simultaneously, every player will choose one of these pairs. The construction card lets you build a house with that address. The action card lets you do an optional bonus action if you want. And so, on my turn, I look at these 3 and I say, hey, you know what? I would love to build a pool because pools are worth a lot of points. The first one's worth 3, the second one's worth 6, the third one's worth 9, but then 13, 17, 21, all the way up to 36 points if I can build all the pools. So let's make a run for it. I choose this little bundle, which means I have to build a house with the street number, the address 11. I've got 3 streets to build on. I can choose any one of them. And let's say I go for the middle street and I build right here. House number 11 on this street, and because I did the pool action, I activate the little pool, because you can see this was a house that had a pool. If I had built number 11 over here, let's say, or over here, I would have to ignore the pool action. So that's why I wanted to build it. If you want to do a pool action, you're limited to where they can be built. All right. So that was my action. My opponents, they're all choosing what they want to do on their turn. Maybe they're going to visit the real estate office. Maybe they'll do it, but on a different street. Who knows? But after everybody's done, we go on to the next round, and we just reveal 3 more cards. And by the way, we know what's coming, because I can see on this card that on the other side, there is going to be a real estate action. So I flip it over. Hey, real estate again. And forestation. Okay, so once again, I'm going to choose 6 and building fences, 12 and visiting the real estate office, or 8 and doing some forestation. Now, there are restrictions, as you might imagine. Because I have now put an 11 on this street, no other house here can be numbered on 11. And in fact, it has to be ascending. Everything on this side has to be less than 11. Everything over here has to be more, just like a real street. You can't have multiple houses with the same address. That would make no sense. So hey, there's this 12 here, and that would be perfect to put right next to my 11. So let's say I do that. Remember, I'm not limited. I could build wherever I want. I could put this 12 way over here, but then that would really hurt me because of the rest of the road. But I'll just put it right here and continue working on this street. So it's a 12. And now I can put a 13, a 14, or a 15 because the numbers go from 1 to 15 on these cards. So I've still got enough, and I get to do a real estate action, which is this down here. Now, what we're trying to do over the course of the game is get a bunch of houses built on all these streets and fence them off with fence actions so that we can create estates of size 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6. So like later on, if I do a fence action and put a fence here and here, then I would have made a size 2 estate. And currently, size 2 estates are worth 2 points, but if I do the real estate action, I can choose any of them to be more valuable. Let's say my size 2 estates are worth 3. I could ultimately make them worth 4 points. Now, because I've done that, I want to start doing a lot of fences to make a lot of tiny size 2 estates, because they are worth more points to me than they would be for other players. That's what I did for my second action. Let's go on to another round, and of course, everybody else was deciding what they wanted to do at the same time. And so what do we got here? An 11 fence. Now, unfortunately, I cannot build another 11 on this road, because there's already a building 11. I could build the 8 and do some forestation. I could build the 7 and do some fences. Now remember, I was saying fences are important. Let's go on ahead and choose this bundle. And let's put the 7, let's put it over here, let's say. So I can put an 8, 9, or a 10 over here, and a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6 over here. So I've got a pretty good shot at not pigeonholing myself too much. And now I get to build a fence. Let's just go on ahead and fill this fence in. And now later on, if I get to build another fence on this road and build it here, I'll have made my size 2. And if I fill these in, that'll be a size 2 as well. So I'm trying to long-term strategize to make more size 2 estates because those are more valuable to me. Not only because they're more valuable to me, but because I also haven't mentioned that every time you set up, there are 3 city plans that are chosen at random from a big old deck. There's a ton of them. There's regular ones, and then there's also these advanced ones you can play to make the game a bit more, a bit heavier. So I've got these, and if you look at this city plan, there are 8 points to the first player to build 4 separate size 2 estates. And once somebody does that, everybody else can do it, but they only get 4 points instead of 8. That's my plan, folks. That's why I put this fence here. I want to put another fence here. I want to get these filled in. I want to get 4 unique, complete size 2 estates so I can score those 8 points. Plus, I want to keep going back to the real estate office to make those size 2 estates worth more points at the end of the game. So that's looking pretty good for me. Other players choose other things. We move on to the next round. And what have we got here? Ooh. So this is nice. If I do the 6, I can put it over here, and I can make my size 2 estates even better. Or I could build a 12. I can't build a 12 on this road, though. If I do the 12, it'll have to go on one of my other streets, and I can do a real estate action. But here's the biz action. This is a really interesting one. This basically lets you double the size of an existing house. So if I choose this, and I do the 10 somewhere, let's say I do it. Hey, that's perfect. I'll just keep on working on this. I build the 10 somewhere, and now I can do the biz action, which means I can expand this 7 or this 10 or this 12 to take up another lot. And let's do that. So I'll do the biz. I'll turn this single 12 into a double 12, and I have to write biz as a reminder that it's 12 biz. That's the way it's in America. It's like having a house called there's house number 12, and then there's 12A. This is 12 and 12 biz. So I've built up. Although this is a problem. A problem is you cannot split up a thing like this. So now I can't make a wall here. So that was actually a terrible idea. I didn't want to do that. Let's make this 10 over here 10 biz. Because then if I build a wall here and I build a wall here, then I'm getting more of those size 2s that I want. But anyway, that's what biz does. Real estate, you saw what it does. There are some other actions you can do as well. Let's see. If I had just done the 10 and done forestry, instead of getting to duplicating existing house, I could build up parks around this street. The more parks you build on a given street, the more points you get at the end of the game. Or instead, maybe it would have been 10 and the temp agency. Now, whenever you visit the temp agency, you mark that you've hired some temp worker, because whoever does this the most at the end of the game scores a bunch of bonus points, and there's second and third place as well. But temp agency lets you change this value. So this could go up or down by 2 or 1, or it could stay the same, because you can always ignore the bonus action if you don't want to do it. So this could be an 8. This could have been a 12. These can be a real helper as your streets get fuller and fuller, and you're trying to find the exact number to fit between 2 houses. Those temp agencies can be a lifesaver. Plus, they're worth points the more you do them. Let's see here. So I've talked about biz, real estate, temp agency, building pools, forestation, and just regular fencing. Now, the game is going to keep going like this until some player has either filled in all of their streets, has completed all 3 plans, whether they were the first or second player to do it, or has been denied a building permit 1, 2, 3 times. What that means is later on in the game, when you've only got a few spaces left to fill, the cards that come out might not let you build. You just can't build because of the restrictions of always having to go in ascending and not being able to have the same address on a given street. If you can't build any of these, then you get denied a permit, and the third time that happens to somebody, that triggers the end of the game. And that, folks, is the rundown on Welcome To. Actually, it's supposed to be Welcome To, and you actually name your town. Let's call this Duckville. Welcome to Duckville, everybody. I'm building it up as we go. This is a very cool, and so far, a very popular, really kind of a hot roll and write. Although, again, you don't roll dice. Instead, you draw cards. But that's kind of cool. That's one of the things that's really great about it. Because in a dice rolling game, you might go the whole game never seeing the numbers you need. Here, because they're coming from decks of cards, you know every number is going to be available sooner or later. Although there's rarities. They go from 1 to 15. 8 is the most common. 1, 2, 14, and 15 are the rarest. So if a 14 comes up, if you think you need it, you better grab it because they're pretty rare. Although sometimes the decks will get reshuffled as well. But anyway, you have a lot more control than a regular roll and write, and you need it because as your suburb fills up with all these estates you're trying to score, it gets tense and tight and tough. And if you want more control, there's an advanced variant of the game where instead of everybody just drawing from the same or choosing from the same 3, everybody has 3 cards in their hand. They pick 1 for the number, one for an action. That's what they'll do on the turn, and they give the other card to their opponent, and you do a round-robin draft. 2 ways to play a very cool, fun, tense, clever roll and write or draw and write, I guess. That, folks, is welcome to, and that's the rundown. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day. Talk to you later. So long. Bye-bye.